you're going to appreciate is the Inside Scoop with our inside linebacker, Todd Davis. You're not going to get a better breakdown of defensive film than right now.
Sorry.
No,
he said it.
Henry did offensive film yesterday.
He's done defense
He did offensive film yesterday.
Well,
but he does a great job.
There's going to be a defensive player soon, and I'm gonna show you what's up.
Okay, there we go. I like that.
All right, so we got John Franklin Myers, a.k.a. JFM. And I think he's a talented player. He's 6'4", 288 DN. I believe he had 38 tackles last year, 3.5 sacks. He had 5 the year before that. But I think he's a talented player. Fourth round pick by the Rams in 2018. There was a year where I didn't see any stats that I was kind of confused on. It was like 2019.
Yeah.
He was injured.
Yeah. He must have been injured. And then he didn't play all that much as a rookie, it doesn't look like either. I guess he played a little. He got
Just
a couple sacks.
bit.
But yeah, no starts.
But he's talented. I mean, he's a DN. Right here they have them. This is third down. So like we talked about earlier, they have them lined up on the inside sometimes on third down. And he's right here rushing kind of like as a 4-eye. And I think he does a great job. So with him rushing here, they do a lot of things where they used to have him kind of rush to contain. So he doesn't get a sack for this play, but does a great job getting outside of the tackle here. I think he has really good hips when he's working from the inside out, especially on this right side. So he was running the game with this outside linebacker. He's outside. The outside linebacker is up and under. They call it an exit or a Texas. Some people call it, but I think he does a great job of flipping his hips, beats the tackle on the outside, ends up getting to the quarterback just a little bit late. So this sack doesn't count for him, but I thought it was a great play showing his versatility, his ability to rush from the inside on third downs, and just him as a player. So pretty good job there, and I think you see that a lot on film.
They play a lot of those games out there, it feels like. And going back and watching, like even more than the Broncos, who I think do quite a few, he's a kind of an interesting body type for that, because it feels like when he's coming from the outside, he can just like clean people up. And so like typically if that's like your Nick Bonito who's taking that, like you just can't do some of those same things from the edge like that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, especially with guys like Drew Sanders who really like rushing forward, the A gaps, those sorts of things. You can almost just free him up easy outside. So I'd imagine they're planning on doing a bunch of that stuff with him.
Yeah, and then with him being a defensive end, he's used to keeping contained. He's used to getting to the quarterback from the edge. So I think it's great that he can start here, get there, and it allows your outside defenders to create different rushes and different rush lanes. So I think the way they use him is great. This, overall, he's a good player, but this is one play I wanted to bring up just because it scared me just a little bit. He always is like this super wide 5 technique, so he's outside the tackles here, and he's lined up way out here. That's just the way he plays. He likes it there. But on this one, it kind of, sad, but reminded me of that Miami game. And so this was just a little bit of play recognition. Toss crack, not our favorite to see against the Broncos. This is him here. And he just kind of gets washed down.
Wait, where is he now?
Right here. I would love to see him see this and kind of play into this block a little bit and help out the defense. It's not something that happens a lot. I think he's aware of most plays and does a good job of play recognition. But this is one I had to throw in here just because it definitely, made me a little nervous remembering what happened, you know what I'm saying? Miami,
especially
2023.
Especially lining up so far outside. You think that'd be something he'd be able to do, is contain and always keep contained to make sure those don't go outside, but clearly not there.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough with this block because this guy has, all the leverage on you, but you just got to be able to recognize it and be able to play into him. This one is getting harder to see him, but I think he has...
Yeah, we're playing in a blizzard here.
Exactly. I think he has a good motor. So this is him right here, again, really wide.
Oh, my
on the
God,
outside.
he's so wide.
Whoa. And then, I think he has a good motor. So that's one of the things you love to see for the big men up front is there's a lot of times you can affect the play with your first move or your first rush, but there's other times where you can kind of get off a block and help make plays, 2 or 3 yards down the field. And so this is one where he comes off the ball, good hat in hands, secures the edge, nobody's running outside now, but also has the ability to use his speed and use his athletic ability to, I was over here now, doesn't mean that the play is over. I can still come and try to find to make a play on the ball. Ends up getting this tackle right here. So that's the big man, come from the outside edge. He secured it and then also found a way to get in on a tackle. And so for a guy that plays linebacker, you love to see big men, Pauls. be able to get in on plays and have a motor and have an engine. So I definitely think that he is that type of guy.
Well, and you talked about the motor, and that's such a big part of not necessarily his game, but like his character. And it's so clear, his motor. You noticed it. I think when you just turn on the film, you notice it. It's something the Broncos noticed. That's actually something George Payton pointed to right after the Broncos traded. George said that JFM has a relentless motor.
Yep.
And actually, that's something JFM prides himself on. He talked to our friend Chris Thomason of the Denver Gazette, and he said, John Franklin Myers said, I play with a physicality people don't want to match and aren't willing to match. And it's another opportunity in Denver to impose my will. And that's something that he has really leaned into. Todd, as you've kind of told us, if you're not a first-round pick, you're not a second-round pick, you're a fourth-round pick who was cut his first year after being with the Rams in the NFL, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, or you're an undrafted guy. You have to play with the motor if you want to make it in the NFL.
Without a doubt. You only get like one chance, man. They don't really give us first-round pick chances time after time again.
Zach Wilson chances.
Yeah, hey, he's a Bronco now. So this is him on the edge right here. I think, like I talked about, you'd see the crack toss, but most of the game he's very, very aware of different situations. So he gets an influence block right here on this tight end. So this tight end is supposed to run out, and they hope that this D end kind of like hangs with him a little bit, just enough time to open up space in here for the O-lineman to get their blocks and, for young Cook to be able to find his way through the hole. But doesn't fool him. He knows what's happening, sees the influence block, and then he actually is the one right here making this tackle. So he was out here, didn't get fooled, and was able to come back inside and make this play. So good situational awareness and good ability to always find the football and get to it.
So, Todd, there's a lot of people in the Twitter chat right now saying, why is he lining up so wide? Does he need to be so wide? Is that the defense or is that him?
I think that it's him. I think it's his style. Let me go back and see what. Well, he is wider than this guy, but they are both wide out there. But that could be two things. I guess he is pretty wide too. That could be two things. One, the defensive scheme, and then also his ability to rush. I think when you're able to change those angles, it allows for a better rush. So like guys like Vaughn or TJ Watt, they can align tighter to the tackle because of how great their hips are. Because you can run kind of upfield but still be able to turn at like a right angle. I think when you make it, 75-degree angle more, you're able to, it requires less hip flip, to be able to get around the corner.
So then is there any concern that he's going to be more in a 3-4 defense? That defensive end's not going to be able to line up outside the tight end or the tackle. Is there any concern with that his game translating to being inside?
Not for me, because I've seen him on third down.
Love it.
What I'm saying? Head up the tackle or slightly inside in a 4-eye. So I know that he can do it. He may feel comfortable out here, but I feel like he also lines up right here and does a great job of that as well.
I think the Broncos are going to have him do that a bunch too. Like, again, it's that nickel defense is what you're in 60% of the time. And if you're... a lot of the time, what you think of in that nickel defense is just 2 defensive linemen and 2 edge rushers, but teams are going to run all over that if that's actually what you do. So if you put a defensive lineman on that strong side, and that's what he's so good at, like it just seems like the obvious answer is to have him do what he does so well, and that should take away a bunch of the concerns of teams running the ball out of nickel.
But what you're saying then is he's taking an outside linebacker spot on the field, right?
It depends on how you want to look at it. Like in Madden, that's how they do it, is like they put the outside linebackers down there. But I mean, it's like you need to find a way to get in a neutral situations to be able to defend the pass and the run when there's 3 receivers on the field. And so I don't know whose spot exactly that would be, because it's just whoever plays that role best. And I think that when you have these defensive linemen now, it just makes sense to have him out there. I don't think it makes a whole bunch of sense. Like Benito, you definitely have like on the weak side, and then you have like Cooper on the strong side. But even Jonathan Cooper is going to get pushed around more than John Franklin Myers is. And if it's 50-50 run or pass, you're not selling out to get to the quarterback anyway. You kind of need to be playing the run responsibilities first. So it just makes a lot of sense, especially considering like if you trade for somebody, you probably want him to do what he's been so good at doing.
It's just tough, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think you do sacrifice a little bit of the pass rush.
You do.
Now, could he get to 10 sacks a year? I don't know. He's had 5, he's had 6, he's had 3.5. So he is able to get to the quarterback. So I think that's yet to be seen. I think in him winning one-on-one matchups constantly on the edge remains to be seen. But I think, to your point, I think it could be good. I mean, if he is dominant in the pass rush, and he's strong in the run game, 288 is much bigger than the outside linebackers that we have in this room right now. So I'm not opposed to it. I just would like to see it.
And it depends on the situation, too. Like, if you're playing Mahomes and you just want 2 guys out there to go contain, that makes more sense. If you're playing, like the Chargers, when they go nickel, knowing kind of when they go with 11 personnel, knowing what they like to do offensively, you might want to make sure you're beefy enough up front just to not get pushed around and clamp down the running game.
Yep, for sure. Well, speaking of his pass rush, it's great to end on this note because this is a pass rush by him. This is the first game of the season and the last one I showed you. So I went and watched the last game of the season, kind of what have you done for me lately, and then the first, and which I felt like was kind of his best game, 4 tackles, I think 3 solo, and he also had a sack. So this is the sack in the game, and I thought this was just pure power. You have him outside right here. He's going to be one-on-one with this tackle, and literally kind of just walks him back to the quarterback and finds his way to slip inside and get this sack on Josh Allen. So, if this is what he can do on a consistent basis in nickel against 11 personnel, one-on-one against a tackle, I'm all for it. And this is him kind of at his best right here, making a play. It's funny because he's such a big body that he didn't even wrap Josh Allen up. He kind of just falls into him, and then Josh falls too. So it works out to be big, athletic, physical, and I think that's what he is. So I think I'm really excited about the player that we got, and I think he's going to be a great addition to the front for Denver.
I do too, and let's talk about just how big of an addition he is, and how does he compare to Zach Allen, and is he the best front 7 player the Broncos have right now?